Yeah.
Chairman Comer came out and told us that he thinks that this interview will probably be one of the more consequential, most consequential possibly, interviews of this investigation. Do you agree with that sentiment?
I agree. Leon Black was a central figure in Jeffrey Epstein's certainly business life, but also other life. And he had to have known about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, given how close he was to Jeffrey Epstein. Many survivors have also pointed to Leon Black as someone they were afraid of, as someone who was engaged in some of the sexual crimes, and as someone that we need to talk to. And so, we know some of the stuff that's publicly out there about him having mistresses, about him having these NDAs, about people being afraid of him, but we want him to answer the tough questions about what he knew about Jeffrey Epstein, his relationship, and whether he was involved in some of the crimes himself.
On another topic, let's do this, if I can. Obviously, we saw this week in the Democratic Party a number of incumbents lose their races in New York. A couple of them replaced by primary challengers from the Democratic Socialists of America that are aligned with them. We're now hearing more and more Democrats say that it's time for a change in leadership in the party, that the establishment isn't working. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Depends on what leadership you're talking about. I'm happy with Hakeem Jeffries, and I'll say that because he unites the entire caucus, and that's a hard thing to do.
But his candidates lost this week in New York.
Yeah, all politics is local. Those candidates would not have won in Virginia, where I live. And I'll say, though, that he unites people from California to Washington State to New York City. And so, certainly they will have their chance to air their grievances at him if that's what they desire and they get elected in November. But he's the one that's leading us into November, and I think our best chance of making sure we're in the majority.
I guess that's one more on Leon Black. In his opening statement, he said something to the effect of he was aware of the 2008 guilty plea, but thought that it was for something like perjury or some other crime. I mean, do you buy that, or do you think that he must have been aware of what was going on behind the scenes?
It's hard to tell. I'm going to ask him. I'll say that I don't buy that he didn't know what Jeffrey Epstein was up to with all these young girls. I don't buy that he didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein was committing crimes all these years, and I think that he may have been engaged in them himself based on what survivors have told us. So again, I'm going to ask him the hard questions. He's probably going to deny everything, and then I would like to see all the files released, and I'd like us to get evidence. I'd like the DOJ to do their job so that we can catch people in lies in these interviews. Thank you.
Thank you.